So, hello from the other side for this one, I guess, since all of the content we're going to be looking at is on the right of the screen. I'm going to move over to this side so I'm not getting in the way. So a record in DatoCMS is any piece of content that you add in, whether it's an individual blog post, a person, a case study. Each one of them is its own unique content record. And the first thing you'd notice when you're interacting with content you've created is this little tab for record info and the publishing status or the published version. Now, I would say as editors, it's kind of easy to dismiss this as system metadata. But there's a lot of use cases that we can use to sort of utilize this content. Now, the obvious ones are, since we're looking at a blog post, it's kind of obvious to point out that devs would most likely want to query for the created at or the published at date to chronologically list all the posts on our blogs, on our production websites. But as editors as well, I mean, the first thing is if I'm collaborating with multiple teams, I have a very quick look into kind of who's created and published and changed content. So if I have anything to request or any comments or any notes, I can reach out to the right person. But more importantly, the sort of date fields for when things were created and published also give me some pretty powerful sorting capabilities to create my own custom views. Now, if I had hundreds of blog posts, maybe I'm not too happy with having them listed out alphabetically or by when they were first published. Maybe I just want to have a bit of a view on when they were last updated to make sure that changes are constantly being made. I can just go ahead, add some more filters, create some more specific configurations to my column, and use these fields to kind of save my own custom view. After that, we've got the published version. Now, in this case, we can see that everything is in sync since we have everything published in two locales. But if I were to maybe make a small change here and go ahead and save this, you'd notice that we've instantly got a not in sync version where the sort of localization has been updated for the Italian version based on what I changed in English. So I can see that I have a non-localized piece of content. And while both are published, we've made changes to English where there is one change on a draft stage which doesn't completely sync to the published stage. So let's go ahead and publish this. And now we can see that both our versions are in sync. Next up, we've got the ability to unpublish. Now, unpublishing works in two ways. Either I can go ahead and unpublish this entire blog post from all languages across the website, or since we have localizations available, I can also select specific locales to sort of unpublish this content from. So let's go ahead and unpublish the Italian version. Just like that, I've got the English version live, and then the Italian version will be sort of taken back into draft mode and not be available on the website anymore. But what if I wanted it to be available again in the future? This is kind of where scheduled publishing comes in. So I've already gone ahead and unpublished Italian, but let's say, well, we're currently in April at the time of recording this. So let's say I want to publish the Italian version again in the future. This is where I could simply go ahead, select the 1st of May, publish all changes, which means everything for all locales, or I can just go ahead, select Italian, and have this available once again on the 1st of May. Now, this helps with a lot of workflows because me personally, in the past, I've had Slackbot reminders and calendar blockers and stuff like this to kind of log into the CMS, make sure the changes are made correctly, and then go ahead and publish something. But scheduled publishing kind of takes that and gives me the peace of mind that the CMS will take care of everything by itself. Then we've got links. Now, if you remember when we were creating our content models, we had said that blog posts would have authors associated with it. However, the links themselves are what you would see on that author model, depending on how you've modeled it. So let's go ahead and select someone like Veal, who has a blog post attached to her. This is where you could get all the records where this author or this person or this model is linking to. So if you wanted to make any changes to the blog post or you wanted to delete it, or vice versa, if you wanted to delete the author, you'd kind of get an understanding that, maybe you should check all the other content pieces this person is connected to make sure that nothing's breaking on the front end or you don't have any missing data. So let's go back into the blog post for the final bits here. The last thing you'd notice is the revision history. Now, I've been making tons of changes that are pretty sporadic, and maybe I go ahead and make a couple of typos and actually publish this. this is something I don't want in production. Maybe I haven't caught it, but someone else on my team has. So what they would have to do is simply take a look at the revision history. They can see there's a current version and a published version, along with some old versions that might show changes we've made in the past. So maybe I'm not happy with how things look in production with this at the moment, and I want to change this back, or someone in my team wants to revert it back to a previous one. So all I would have to do is simply choose one of the available revisions, where I'll automatically be able to see what the differences are. But if I wanted to look at the entire entry, I could simply deselect that toggle, and I'd get a side-by-side comparison of the current version as well as the previous version that I'm looking at. So in this case, I'm not really happy with this. So I want to go back to the version that was live from a few minutes ago. So I'm simply going to go restore this version and go ahead and publish my changes. Just like this, we go back to the current version being a previous published version that we have no issues to fix.